Hello everyone, welcome back to the South Stand View. Just me and Charlito tonight. As you can see, there is no Mikey. He is busy setting up our global outreach program at Dognitash, so he'll be back with us for the next show. But for now, it's me and Charlito holding down the fort. So first thing first, Char, how are we, mate? How was your Friday?
Yeah, all right, mate. Yeah, just same shit, different day. Just grafting as always, but hoping for some more 3 points. Just hoping to keep the bandwagon going, mate, because we're in good form at the minute. So hopefully that continues. But yeah, other than that, all good, mate. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. Like you, hoping to keep the good times a rolling, but
That's it.
I have literally just walked through the fucking door, mate, as you
He
are
has.
well aware.
He
So,
has.
listeners, viewers, it's commitment. Punch the missus in the face on the way in. Move. I'm doing a podcast. Bitch.
Standard.
But yeah, mate. Other than that, all good. Ready for
Yeah, all
tomorrow?
good, mate. Yeah, absolutely. Again, I'd maybe. I don't know about you. I'd kind of put this in like the bracket of could be a tricky one, maybe. You never really know what West Brom you're going to get. Obviously, I'm sure we'll get into them in a few minutes, but yeah, they're a strange team, a bit hit and miss. But again, I think especially the fact that it's at Elland Road, you've got to expect a win, surely.
Who's their manager now?
Tony Mowbray.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah, they're permanently managed by Colbrand for me. I know he's
Yeah,
gone, but
we wanted him off him at one point.
correct, mate.
Really
He
glad
was
we
going to
didn't.
be our 24-hour appointment, wasn't he? When he said we get a manager in the next 24 hours after Marsh left. Apparently, it was meant to be old Carlos.
It was a long 24 hours, wasn't it?
And that to be about 2 weeks, didn't it? Something.
Wait, Avi Grazia that they've got in at
Yeah,
that
mate.
point.
Gracia, yeah.
Jesus.
But as we've touched on plenty of times, not Arne Slot, not Iriola, not fucking
No.
Nuno, not Nuno, fucking Javi Gracia. What's he up to now, do we know?
God knows. Don't really
Probably
care, to be honest.
working
Because
in
he want
Costa or
much.
something, isn't
Yeah, he want much better, worry. But there was no Arnie Slot, no Nuno, no Iriola, but there was also no Gakpo, no Mateus Cunha, no Rodrigo de Paul. Instead, we got Rasmus Christensen, Robin Koch,
he? Yay.
Tyler Adams wasn't that bad, really. He just left as a prick.
He's a rat.
Weston McKennie, who can forget Weston McKennie? I know I have, but
that just looks bad on us now because he's turning out to be semi-decent. So it's like,
yeah,
fuck's
but
sake.
it's a farmers league, is Serie A, innit?
Yeah,
Can afford to be
horrendous.
fat and get away with it over there.
I might go, mate. Hopefully, I'll slot in centre half or something. 5'10"
Yeah,
centre half. Who fancies it?
probably could, but yeah, I mean, as I said it from the off, mate, I think there's no reason why Leeds shouldn't be confident going into this one. I think it. I've said it a few times recently. It isn't even the score lines. It's more how dominant we're being for me. I think that's why it feels a bit different. And obviously, I do have a listen and a watch to other creators, mainly the Square Ball. I feel like I'm borderline obsessed with them. To be fair, I love them that much. But a few of them have said recently, and it's right. I think the winning run we went on last season doesn't feel like this one.
No.
It didn't feel as dominant as this one.
And it wasn't as
Do
long,
you
mate,
agree?
either.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I remember we had that great night against Leicester, and then we followed it up with a cup defeat to Chelsea, which fair enough. It's Chelsea.
As you pointed out to me today, what you tagged me
I
onto
did.
it.
I did, yeah, for old League Two Joseph at the double at the bridge. But no, and then obviously I think we drew with Huddersfield, and I think that's kind of when it started to go a little bit Pete Tong at that
mate.
point. But again, back-to-back wins against promotion rivals. It surely it can only be up from here, mate. What do you think?
It feels sort of like a game that I sort of never envisaged coming, mate, because I think as a fan base, we were so invested on these two last games that anything after that didn't really exist, and now that's done. It's like, oh right, so fuck, we've still got to play some games, and it's West Brom next up, mate. So I'm just hoping the players and the managerial team, I'm sure they don't, but I hope they're not taking how I feel at least anyway, and thinking like, right, we've got to try and somehow get up for this game that's not as important to the promotion race, or that, well, it is as important because it's the same amount of points up for grabs, mate, but they're not a team that are on our tails. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it is mad. I was having a look at the table, and obviously they're fifth. So
Are they?
in yeah, so in any other league, you'd look at it and go, oh, playoffs. They're only four places behind. But then when you look at the points, we're 24 points clear of them. That's ridiculous. Even at this level, that is ridiculous. But yeah, it again, as I've kind of titled this stream, there is no room for complacency at this point. I think you would argue the games against teams in the bottom half are more important because I think that's where I think that's where Leeds teams of the past have come unstuck. I'm thinking the QPR game away at the end of last season where it literally just fell apart.
Cardiff for Bielsa.
Cardiff with Bielsa, even though it did end up kind of turning itself around, I think
No, I'm on about
that
first
one,
season, mate. First season.
First season, right? Sorry, I thought you meant COVID one, but no. And then obviously
first COVID game. Fucking hell.
And then obviously there's the famous Derby playoffs. We all know what happened there, but no, it feels different, as I've said, and yeah, the team's just in great form. But should we touch upon Farke's press conference briefly for this one? So,
yes,
obviously the major.
You steer the ship.
Yeah. So the major, obviously, team news that everybody was waiting on was about Ampadu. Basically clarified it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks, hopefully. Yep. Obviously, if they do go down the route of needing surgery, then it will be a season ender, which is unfortunate. But when you think about it, if Ampadu ends up missing the rest of this season, including this first injury, he'll have missed half the season pretty much.
It's mad, isn't it, when you think about it?
And you wouldn't have really noticed it. And that sounds harsh because Ampadu has been solid since his comeback. I think he's been really good, minus the Sunderland goal, where I think Isidore did body him quite easily. But other than that, I think he's been sound. He's as captain, he's as leader. But
he's just legend, John Terry.
Yeah. But I personally think we'll be all right without him, mate. I mean, thoughts?
Mate, me, you and Mikey have had several conversations where I think the general consensus as us as an entity might have been like, well, are we better without Ampadu in the team? Don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't think we'd ever definitively said we didn't want him playing.
No.
But yeah, there's an argument that he shouldn't be in the team. Don't get me wrong. I'd rather have him around the squad than not have him available like we are now. But
definitely.
Yeah, I think we'll be sound. I think for me, the best midfield pairing is still Rothwell and Tanaka. Mm-hmm. I know you all agree with me with the pictures of Gruev on your dartboard, mate. So
yeah, exactly.
But do you think Ilya might start tomorrow again, or do you think it's time for Joe to shine?
It's time for Joe to shine, I think, and that's not even just my Gruev agenda speaking there. No, all jokes aside, I think especially the fact that it's at home, and you would have thought that we would be more progressive, more on the front foot. I imagine that he will go with Rothwell, especially with the impacts that he's had in the last 2 games, especially. Gruev, I've even seen a lot of Leeds fans saying, that the last few games he hasn't really been at it.
No, he hasn't.
Don't get me wrong, I agree why Farke thinks he would be needed in away games, just when you want a safer pair of hands, especially with Ampadu being out. But yeah, I think obviously we'll do predicted 11s at the end, I'm sure. But yeah. I think Rothwell has to come back in, and just going back to the Ampadu injury, I mean, his first injury earlier on in season, I think we all thought the world had ended when him and Gruev both got injured within space of about 4 days.
Absolutely.
But Rothwell and Tanaka, I remember the first game, seeing it in the flesh, which was the Sheffield United game at home, and how they complemented each other and how each other knew where each other was at various points. You know, I thought they were both too attacking to play together, but I don't know how, mate, but it just works, doesn't it?
I was extremely worried, mate, especially with the time of that injury when we had the Blunts coming to Elland Road. I was thinking, well, might be another long season in the playoffs for us, but I've been pleasantly surprised, mate. I didn't really think, with the reputation that when Joe Rothwell had that he arrived, couldn't really break into that Southampton team. All the reviews of him from them that he was shit, and I was like, oh god. And then we saw him in the flesh, mate, first time against Borough in the cup, and I was like, yep, he's shit. And then
everybody was shit that night, though, weren't they?
Let's be honest. Mate, nobody really gets a pass that day.
No,
but mate, I'll happily eat humble pie because he's been fucking brilliant since we've called upon him, mate, and started playing him more consistently. He's been unbelievable. And then on this podcast, we run out of superlatives to say about Tanaka, mate. So he speaks for himself, the Selby Samurai, doesn't he?
Generational talent.
Generational talent, mate. The best Japanese footballer ever.
Yeah, I would agree with that. 100%.
I don't know many others.
No, so that's why he is the best, because clearly the others aren't worth knowing about.
No.
Clearly. But on Joe Rothwell, it's not even just what he does in open play, it's just what he adds on set pieces as well, because no other fucker in our team can seem to kick a dead ball.
Not Gruev. His corners are class.
Jesus, man. Wow. Going back a few seasons when we were in the Premier League, I remember being at Craven Cottage. I was there, and I was right near the front in the corner where the corner flag was. I remember Mark Rocker went over to take a corner, and he must have took about 5 or 6 in a row, and they all just hit the first man.
Yeah, mate, I remember it.
Single one, and they were getting absolute pelters. Now, that Gruev performance against Sunderland reminded me of that. Every fucking dead ball he took, first man. And then the one time he actually gets a decent ball in, there's no fucker there on end of it.
No.
So it's either the person taking it or how the players are attacking these set pieces. I think defensively we've actually improved slightly.
A lot,
set
mate.
Pieces.
A lot. Remember, we went years without scoring from a corner. I think we've got about 3 or 4 this year.
I mean, I say we've improved defensively. I mean, there is Mez, but other than him, you know, if I think we have. But yeah, Joe Rothwell, just the deliveries are always just peach of balls out, you know, just brilliant. And then the only thing is, in an attacking sense, is it only seems to be Pascal Strout that knows how to head a set piece, mate. I think we need to get more people involved in the attacks on set piece. I mean, Rodon scored that one against Derby, but other than that, there's no real outlet, is there, other than Pascal?
What does he really do at corners, Joe Rodon, sorry. He always seems up for it and like G'ing everyone up. And then I'm like, why are you never attacking the ball, Joe?
I think attacking-wise, he has a 50p head, but defensively is as solid as a rock. So it is a weird one. But again, set pieces, I don't even think it's any particular individual. It seems to just be a Leeds thing for years.
Yeah, right.
Whether it's taking them, scoring them. I mean, I think the Square Ball was speaking about it either today or at some point this week. When was the last time that Leeds scored a direct free kick other than Gruev in the playoffs? Like, can you think of one before then? I can't.
McCormack, maybe? That's like the first thing that springs to mind. There's got to be one. No, Calvin, Blackburn. COVID.
Yeah, and Calvin against West Brom, the last game of the Prem season. I remember being there for that. It was when they only had like 9,000 allowed in the ground, and I was fortunate enough to get a ticket that day. I was in the wedge,
next to the Bin Laden crowd.
That's it. Yeah. God, do you remember that? Fucking
Yeah,
hell, you won't
mate.
get away with that now. You won't
Nah.
get away with that now at all. But I remember that was Berardi and Pablo's last game for the
Was,
club.
mate, yeah.
So yeah, I was lucky to be there for that.
Free kick.
But yeah, free kicks, mate. I mean, other than Gruev against Norwich last in playoffs, can you really think of any? Definitely didn't get one last year.
Did Somerville score any?
No. Used to like cutting in on front left, but I don't think he ever scored a dead ball. Nah. I mean, if you're watching, guys, hit us in the comments.
Please
Can you remember where or when the last direct free kick was scored, other than Gruev? Because that's the only one I can think of at the minute. But yeah, I mean, our opponents then, West Bromwich Albion, West Brom. Oh, go on.
Leicester.
Dan James.
Yeah, we're counting that.
But it came off Bamford.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was. I'm talking literally dead ball straight in the net.
Did it get given to Bamford that as well?
Did Rafinha get one in the Prem as well? He got one against Leicester, I remember, at South Stand, where it went all the way through. Yeah, we could give him that. But anyway, guys, like we said, hit us up in the comments if you can think of any others, unless we will be here all night. But yeah, West Brom, as I said, mate, they're coming into this in quite patchy form. I think the form actually suggests where they are in the league, really, to be honest with you. So they've won 3 of the last 6. The other 3 have been 2 defeats and a draw. Tony Mowbray's recently took over. He's improved things slightly, but I mean, anything had to be an improvement on Carlos Corberán and parking the bus every single week. I mean, we remember, don't we, that game at the Hawthorns, second game of this season. Georgia had just been sold. We'd just been battered by Middlesbrough in the cup. We had no Ramazani. We'd drawn with Portsmouth. We had no Ramazani, no Solomon, no Tanaka. And of course, famously, no Isaac Schmidt at that point either. So it was pretty bleak that afternoon. I think Fark and Corberán just had an handshake at the start of the game and said, yeah, let's just draw this one and just go on to his family's all safe. But that was a bleak afternoon, wasn't it, mate? A very bleak game, that.
It was signs of things to come, like the Burnley game, that, mate. It was just a carbon copy of that, do you know what I mean? Like, let's not attack today, lads. Let's just kick it around the midfield and on the back a bit.
Have a day off. Have a day off.
Let's have a rest. Everyone have a rest and calm down, and we'll go again. But no, mate. At that point, as a fan base, because obviously we didn't have a lot.
Everything was up in the air, wasn't it? Everything were up in the air.
I mean, in the recent few months, then we'd lost at Wembley. We'd sold all our best players, seemingly. We had no one really coming in. And then it was a case of, right, we've drew at home to Portsmouth, which we could have lost, but then equally could have won because Aronson missed a sitter in the last minute. And then, off to the Hawthorns, mate, after getting battered in the cup. And it wasn't looking too great for us, mate. I'll be honest. I was thinking, where do we really go from here this season? Do you know what I mean? I was thinking, where do we go? Because we've seen teams not fall apart in a promotion race, mate, but come short and then they struggle the next season. I mean, I was thinking, is it going to be one of them? But look at us now.
Look at us now, sitting comfortably at the top of the division. But yeah, as you've said, it was pretty up in the air, wasn't it? At that point, I remember we were having conversations at the time about, like
blackout.
What? Well, yeah, there was actually a lot of people saying that at the time, but I think looking back now, it wasn't a Fark problem, was it? It was just the fact that a lot was happening off the pitch at the time. There was a lot of uncertainty. We had signed a few players, but not to the degree that summer window finished. I mean, I remember the following week we played Sheff Wednesday away, which you went to, didn't you, mate?
I was there, mate, yep. First win of the season.
And either the night before or that day, we announced Ramazani. And I think
it was that day.
And I think from that point onwards, obviously, like you say, it was the first win. And I think from there we started to see a bit of an upturn in fortunes, which we did. I think we
And then
definitely did.
when I was on the bus back, mate, I think it was you or somebody else put in the group chat that we were signing Solomon as well. So
Yeah,
from there,
so
it sort of went all right.
yeah, and it felt like a lot of the signings or the rumours, it all were like happening at once.
Yeah.
And that I think that's when the tide started to turn a little bit. I think we beat Hull at home around that point afterwards. We beat was it Hull? Yeah. I remember we beat Hull because that when Joseph got his first goal for the season. And everyone thought it was going to kick on from that point, even me included. I thought that was the boost that he'd need, but sadly not. Sadly not. Poor Joseph. Poor Matteo. But
League Two, mate.
I mean,
use his legal name.
League Two, Matty. All right,
Yeah,
League
thank
Two,
you.
Matty. But as we did the last preview that you was on, mate.
Come on then. I know what's
players to have previously played for both clubs. Should we get into that? Any that we can think of off the top of your head?
There's one that's still there now, mate. Two that are still there now I can think of.
Alex Mowat, Kyle Bartley.
Jerome Thomas.
What, that centre half?
No, mate, like wispy winger. We signed on one from them, I think. Remember him?
Yeah, I'm thinking of someone else there. Yeah.
Jerome Thomas.
Can't think of it.
Paul Robinson, is that right?
Potentially.
No, it's the other keeper we had. The one that's still at Man City, Scott Carson.
Oh, Scott Carson.
Has he been there? Or am I making out?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yes, Scott Carson. Kyle Bartley, Alex Mowat.
Jerome Thomas. There's a few more.
West Brom and Leeds. Again, guys, hit us up in the comments if you
Jeff Horsfield.
Boy, we're really going back there. Right, okay. Before our lifetimes.
Not really, mate.
Well,
I've seen Jeff Horsfield play.
Definitely mine then.
Well, that was pre-League One. That was relegation season championship, that.
Right.
West Brom.
Peltier? No?
Yeah.
Peltier played for West Brom?
I think so, mate, yeah.
He's been around, so surely he has. Yeah, I think he has, actually.
Have we not signed anyone from West Brom?
Doubt it, mate. Doubt it.
Corberan, if you want to do that one.
Corberan, yeah. But yeah, there has been a few. But speaking of past moments, or past games, sorry, against West Brom.
The same one as me?
Well, it's tomorrow's the exact same day, isn't it? The 1st of March.
Is it?
6 years ago.
Make sure you get to the ground early, mate.
Yeah. We played West Brom under the lights. I remember it was a Friday night, I think. And I remember because on the Tuesday before it, we'd lost at Loftus Road, as we always do.
As we always do.
Against QPR. And it was a dreadful performance. And I remember going into that thinking, we're going to get pummeled here if we play like that. And then I remember I didn't have my season ticket then, so I was in the East stand for that.
Was it the game before? Calvin got sent off at Loftus Road, didn't he?
Yes, so it was the game after that. Oh, no, sorry, no. Calvin got sent off at QPR the season that we got up, which was the year after this.
Right, okay.
And I had literally just sat in my seat and 16 seconds in, mate, Hernandez just rockets that. I mean, that's a top goal, that, isn't it?
There's no backlift on that, mate. It's just flat ball. Yeah. Lovely.
I don't think has there ever been in terms of Leeds, anyway. Has there been a quicker goal than that? 16 seconds.
Not that I can think off the top of my head. Oh yeah, I can, but I'm not going to say it because I'll get lightning.
Oh, is it a League One goal? Right.
Yeah.
All right then, fair enough.
Vecchio on debut against Yeovil.
How long was that? I
think that was 8 or 9 seconds, mate.
Was it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. But But that Pablo goal was something else, wasn't it?
Yeah, mate.
And I think we beat
Unbelievable.
them. I think we beat them 4-0 that night as well.
We took them to fucking town that day, mate.
Paddy Bamford at the double as well, I believe, that night as well.
What happened to him?
I know. And like I said on Meltdowns, I think I just like that Fark just mentions him in press conferences,
Oh, yeah,
just so everyone remembers that he exists.
Do you know what? I've got a confession to make. I've been like sly all day, but like in between clients, trying to perfect my Fark accent after yesterday's shambles, mate. I don't want to go to Shirivak again, like doing my South
If
Park voice.
anybody hasn't seen it, you can either watch Meltdowns,
Get us on Twitter,
which was uploaded this morning.
Yeah,
it's on Instagram, it's on Twitter, and it's on a YouTube short as well.
Oh God, you bastard! You put me all over everything.
It is everywhere. I mean, it's the fact that you had to give it the at the beginning. Sounding like a German pornographic movie. That's what it sounded like.
You might be able to hear some of that in the loft.
Yeah, I thought I could hear some noises. But again, he's on the touchline for tomorrow, so he can actually leave the loft, can't he? So
he's back, mate. It's nice of the Sky cameras to come in and set up a live stream from a loft, so they could look like he was there in Sheffield, but he wasn't. He was in the loft.
Plenty of Actimel.
Plenty. He's guts in a good place for tomorrow.
What about Isaac Schmidt? Is he just going to stay there tomorrow? He won't need to travel.
I've not seen him, mate, in a while. I think he might be like dead in the corner or something.
Yeah, potentially.
We sent him to Dognitas.
Oh God, where all end of life dogs go.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And if he's got Patrick Bamford looking after him, then boy.
Well, Mike's offered Patrick to help him walk over the bridge, hasn't he? So he's their escort for the day.
Their escort for the day, yeah, that is it. That's
true. What Mike's doing tonight, by the way. He's escorting people over the bridge. Well,
I mean, he did have a portrait client to do first.
But it was of a dog.
Yeah, it was of a dog, so yeah.
But they've had some bad news, so Mikey's volunteered to escort them over the bridge.
Yeah, so, I mean, again, if you'd like to donate to Cognitas, just hit us up and we'll put you in touch with the right people. I mean, it's even gone worldwide now. So yeah,
Mikey's mum is going to be our contingent in Australia. We're sending her over there. All expenses paid. Charlie's doing the expenses for it. So thank you for that.
I mean, yeah.
First he's heard of it. But, all right.
I mean, if that's true, she's walking. But anyway, should we get on to predicted 11s then, mate?
Let's do it.
I think we probably know that, how it's going to go. But in goal, we'll go with Elland, the hologram.
That's like his boxing name. That I like that. Elland, the hologram,
or his darts name. Yeah. And then back four unchanged. Yeah, it's got to be on it. It's got to be unchanged. The midfield, I'm going to go I'm going to go Joe Rothwell and generational talent Altanaka. As we said earlier, mate, I think that's at home especially, that just has to be the partnership, doesn't it, in midfield?
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah. Do you reckon he keeps the attacking quartet the exact same as well? Do you think we could see a slight rotation?
Did you get conned on YouTube like I did? Because Michael Normanton did as well. And that video of Brendan saying Yorkshire love story, and it was a picture of him and his missus on like the thumbnail.
Yeah.
I clicked on it, and I was like, maybe this will be like a nice short documentary about Brendan settling in nice. Maybe he's had like a Christmas dinner around Fark's house. And no, it was just a bog standard interview, mate.
Yeah, it was pretty just like the definition of clickbait.
Yeah. We don't do that, yeah.
But yeah, do you think we could see rotation slightly in this one? I think obviously Solomon apparently came into the Sheffield game with a slight knock. He was brought off towards the end for Nonto. Do you think maybe he gets a bit of a breather, or do you think we should start strong, get comfortable, and then rest players?
Depending on how fit he is, mate. I mean, I think we could get the job done without him tomorrow. if he's like right, if he's at 50-60%, maybe stick him on the bench, and if we need him for the last 20 minutes on the 70-minute mark when the changes seem to get made, maybe bring him on then if it's a bit touch and go, mate. But I don't know. How can you see him playing him if he's fit? He seems like the type of guy that I want to play as well, old man or.
Yeah, I think so as well. And as you say, I think if we're comfortable in the game with after 60, 70 minutes, well, it'll be 70 minutes, won't it? Then
That's for losing.
Then we could see the likes of Nonto, we could see Largy come on, obviously, because Largy didn't come on against Sheffield. I thought it was quite, not odd, but I was expecting the change to be Ramazani, but obviously he brought Nonto on, who I thought had quite a good cameo, in fairness. But again, they
should have scored. Any other keeper, mate, he scores, doesn't he? Poor Willie.
Absolutely. But it's just the depth that we've got out wide is just ridiculous. So I think
not fair.
You could literally go with any one of his wingers, and I think people would be like, oh, right, yeah, okay. But I think Dan James is a definite in 100%.
It's got to be, mate, especially at home.
And the old Spliffmeister General up top.
If I ever seen him getting picked, Matty Joseph getting picked over Big Daddy Joel, I would be fucking fuming.
I was going to put something to you because I feel like the last few games, especially when Brendan has come off and Joe Perreault has dropped into the 10 and Joseph has led the line, I think that's actually helped Perreault in a way. And I don't think he'll do it because he won't do it. But to play devil's advocate, mate, is that something you'd maybe like to see from the off, just to see if it works from the start, or does your Joseph agenda just take precedent on that?
Takes precedence over everything, mate. My marriage, my dog, everything.
Yeah.
If you give me an opportunity to talk about how much I hate Matty Joseph, no, I'm joking. But nah, I can't really see it happening, mate.
Should we do a standalone pod on just the reasons why you hate
me and my hatred for Matty Joseph?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll half it, mate, and you can do one about Gruev, and then my kid can do one about.
Should we incorporate it into the League One pod?
Oof, that'd be a good day. That League One hating Matty Joseph and Gruev. Fucking sounds good to me.
I mean, you have been prepared in previous pods with notes and statistics, but I actually dread to think how much that notepad will be filled when you get the date of this League One show. You'll be straight on it, won't you?
I think I should do it noteless. Then you can just see how.
I'm going to say you probably won't even need notes, to be fair.
We should just see how deep the rabbit hole goes, and we can just. I'll run it blind, and we can just see if
you'll be like a kid at Christmas,
mate. Look at the smile on me already. Any talk of League One, I'm like, yes.
Oh, I mean, you did have to tag me in that League One clip, didn't you, today? I just thought,
I can't believe we used to watch football when it was like that.
I know.
Did you see the video of it and that? Because you tagged me in the Matty Joseph one, then I saw Ian Westlake scoring against Oldham. I was like, right, Charlie's getting tagged in this.
I don't even remember it, mate. Don't even remember it.
No,
I don't even think I was following Leeds at that point. I was quite a late developer into Leeds, which we could touch upon in that League One. Because I think my first game was against
Scunthorpe at home, mate. Yeah, Gary Hooper scored for them. Beckford scored twice. I think it was 2 or 3-1 to us.
You even remember? Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was my first game. So, but yeah, enough about those sad, depressing times, or happy times for Isaac.
Happy times, if you mean, yeah.
But I actually saw on Twitter earlier that apparently on this day in 2015. We were 2-0 up at home to Watford, and we ended up getting beat 3-2, which was a nice.
Sounds about right for that timing, mate. Yeah.
And who scored for Leeds that day? Would you say? Because I remember, because I was there, I was at the game.
2015.
A certain player who is more famous. No, is more famous for playing for the Blades.
Billy Sharp.
Billy Sharp, and who else?
Antonucci.
A midfielder that was a right unit.
Right.
I think he was Jamaican.
Rudy
Austin. Rudy
Yeah,
Austin,
mate.
it was a right volley. I remember being there and saying that. But
I
anyway,
think I might have been at that game.
Enough of that.
Them times are worse than League One times, them floating around the Championship seasons.
Yeah, I agree with that, mate, 100%. But
Fucking hell.
we've done as predicted 11, so let's finish on some score predictions. Do I even need to ask, mate, or is it going to be 4-0 from you?
No, mate, I'm going to go with a very sensible 3-1 Leeds.
Okay, I like that.
What about you, Shagger?
I'm going 2-0.
Oh, clean sheet.
I'm going 2-0. I think we'll keep a clean sheet in this one. I'd like to think we will anyway.
Would you or that?
My goal scorers go Big Daddy Joe.
Big Daddy.
Big Daddy Joe, and I'll go Solomon.
Okay, yeah. Mano's due a bit of a turn, to be fair. I'll go Big Daddy. The Rat.
The Rat. I think it is due one, I think.
The Rat is due to start chipping in.
That's Arrington, guys, before anyone asks. That's Arrington.
Yeah. We probably need to specify. We'll have to put, like, what's it called? A glossary of our podcast names that we call people, mate.
A vocabulary.
Yeah, mate. You can buy them now for $9.99 at the southdownview.com.
Yeah.
The podcast glossary. Coming soon.
We'll have to get some merch going at some point.
Yeah, mate. Maybe when we hit 200 subs or something. No, we're over 200 subs now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Maybe 500 subs. 500 subs. We'll start looking at that shit. But you heard it here first, guys. But Big Daddy, the Rat, and Bogle.
Do you know someone who I would want to score because I think he deserves one?
Who, mate?
Joe Rothwell.
Yeah. Have you seen the Rothwell howitzer on Twitter?
Yeah, he's funny. Him.
He said he's posting Rothwell like a film cover with Rothwell's face on until he scores every day. But some days he'll just put like Jake Gyllenhaal because I think he thinks he looks like him and that.
He does look like Jake Gyllenhaal, you know.
Yeah, mate.
I think he does. But
yeah, he does.
But yeah, guys, we're both going with a comfortable Leeds United win in this one. Like I say, I actually think West Brom will come to play. I don't think they'll come to lie down, which I think will ultimately play into our hands.
Good manager is Mowbray.
Good manager, and it's good to see him back in the dugout after his recent troubles. Does seem like a good bloke as well. So
is he a Macomb?
I don't know. He was. I don't know if
loves
he is
revels, doesn't he?
Loves revels. Does love revels. To be fair, which I can't blame him. To be fair,
I love a revel, but not openly.
Oh no way! I was just gonna say that hopefully Chef Wednesday had held on to a point because they were drawing 1-1. But the same guy who scored the Sunderland opener, Mayenda, has got a winner in the 71st minute, and that game looks like it's about to end. Bastard. So it doesn't matter. They're still 10 points behind us. We're not bothered about them anyway. But before we end, guys, please make sure that you are smashing that like on this stream. Appreciate anyone that has dropped in and give this a watch. Please comment all your thoughts and opinions in the comment section if you're watching after the live has ended, of course. And most importantly, subscribe. If you don't hit the notification bell, Isaac, what does that make you?
Angus Kinnear's Scouse ball sack.
Okay, then. Okay.
We haven't even touched on that.
We haven't touched upon that, but I think that could be a topic for a different day, to be honest with you.
That needs a bit more attention than we can give it at the end of the pod.
It does need, it needs way more attention, doesn't it, to be fair, just about the long-term sitch at Leeds. But so hopefully, I mean, Isaac, will you be free after the game tomorrow to give the guys your presence with Mikey, do we think?
Yeah. I'll make sure I am.
Yeah, that's fine. Obviously, I won't be because I'll be at the game, but and I've got plans afterwards. I've got some
hookers that I've ordered to Charlie's house.
Yeah, and I've got some portraits of my own to do. Let's just put it that way. But
oh, nice.
We'll leave that open to the imagination.
Open to interpretation.
That's it. Yeah. But yeah, like I said, hopefully Isaac and Mike will be live after the game to give you their instant reaction to the game. And
We'll
then
be
we'll
here.
be back on Sunday night for a bit more of a debrief with everyone. Hopefully try and get someone on as we've done for the last few, because I think that's been good. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your Friday night and your weekend, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.
Get 3 points.